Welcome back to my archives. Today we delve into the dark descent of a Kansas pastor, from pulpit to perpetrator. I can't sugarcoat this. The man at the center of this story is a worthless excuse for a father. This is gonna blow your mind. The heartland of America, rolling hills and fields of gold. This is Kansas. In this idyllic setting, Matthew Lee Richards was a beacon of hope and guidance. He wasn't just a man of God, but a man of the people. Cue the bullshit cough. Richards served as a children's pastor at Crossroads Christian Church in Shawnee. He was loved for his warmth, his gentle demeanor, and his way with children. This line wouldn't end up aging well in the end. His sermons were filled with compassion and love. Beyond the pulpit, Richards was a dedicated teacher. He molded young minds at Christ Preparatory Academy in Lenexa, shaping futures as a 7th grade English teacher. He was known for his patience and his ability to inspire a love of learning. But behind this facade of piety and virtue, a dark secret festered. Old Matthew thought he wanted to be a martyr. Matthew and Stephanie Richards were the picture of a perfect family. They radiated happiness, their smiles as bright as the Kansas sun. Married in 2003, their love story seemed straight out of a fairy tale. They were blessed with 5 beautiful children, 4 boys and 1 girl. Outwardly, they had it all, but we all know how that goes. A loving marriage, a beautiful family, a respected place in the community. Matthew, the devoted pastor and teacher. Stephanie, the supportive wife and loving mother. They were living the American dream, but behind closed doors, the dream was crumbling. Unbeknownst to their friends and neighbors, and even his whole family, the Richards family was drowning in debt. The financial burden weighed heavily on Matthew's shoulders. The pressure was immense. He had always been a provider, the strong one, the rock of his family. Now he felt like a failure, which in all honesty he was. He kept his struggles hidden, burying his shame deep within. September 16th, 2023. It was supposed to be a night like any other. The kids were tucked into bed, their dreams filled with childish innocence. Stephanie, exhausted from the day, lay sleeping beside her husband. The house was quiet, save for the gentle hum of the refrigerator. But the peace was shattered. A scream pierced the night. Panic filled the air as Matthew Richards, fueled by desperation and despair, snapped. There's no excuse for what was about to happen. There's always another way out. He grabbed a knife and turned on his sleeping family. The children awoke to a scene straight out of their worst nightmares. Blood stained the sheets, a horrifying testament to a father's betrayal. The fire raged, a beacon of horror that drew first responders to the scene. Neighbors watched in disbelief as firefighters battled the blaze and paramedics rushed injured children to waiting ambulances. Inside the inferno, a family lay broken, their lives forever changed. The trauma that will follow this family forever is unprecedented. There is no excuse for his terror. Let me make that clear. There is no excuse. Matthew Richards, apprehended at the scene, confessed to his heinous crimes. I stabbed my family, he admitted, his voice devoid of emotion. He had planned to die in the fire, taking his family with him. But like everything else in his life, he failed. He couldn't even do this right. His motive, he claimed, was to spare his family from the shame of financial ruin. We all know that's complete and utter bull. He convinced himself that death was the only way out, a twisted act of love to protect them from the harsh realities of his failures. But his logic was flawed, his actions unforgivable. The news of Matthew Richards' crimes spread like wildfire through the community, leaving a trail of shock and disbelief. How could a man of God, a pillar of the community, commit such a horrific act? It was incomprehensible. Crossroads Christian Church, once a place of solace and sanctuary, was now shrouded in sorrow. Pastor Kurt Witten, his voice heavy with grief, addressed the congregation, offering support and counseling. We are shocked, sickened, and saddened by the events that have unfolded, read a statement released by the church. A fund was established to help the family rebuild their lives. Because yes, as typical, Matthew failed. Every single family member lived. Thank God, huh? Neighbors, friends, and colleagues struggled to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the monster he had become. The legal proceedings against Matthew Lee Richards began. Each court appearance a stark reminder of the night that shattered a family and shook a community to its core. He faced a litany of charges, 5 counts of attempted murder, aggravated arson, and more. The evidence against him was overwhelming. In February 2025, 2 years after the horrific events of that September night, Richards stood before the judge. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, a plea deal that spared him the death penalty. His sentencing was scheduled for March 26, 2025. The courtroom was packed, filled with a community seeking justice, closure, and a semblance of understanding. Stephanie Richards, her wounds still healing, both physically and emotionally, bravely faced her attacker. Her victim impact statement echoed through the courtroom, a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The case of Matthew Lee Richards serves as a chilling reminder of the devastating consequences of untreated mental health issues and the crushing weight of financial stress. Let me be clear, I in no way condone or excuse his actions. Divorce? Maybe. Bankruptcy? Sure. Stabbing your entire family and then lighting your house on fire will never be the answer for anything. Behind the facade of a perfect life, a dark undercurrent of despair was allowed to fester, ultimately exploding in a horrific act of violence. Financial stress is a silent killer, often invisible to those outside the immediate family unit. It can manifest in a myriad of ways: anxiety, depression, isolation, and in extreme cases, violence. Open communication, seeking help, and breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health are crucial steps in preventing tragedies like this from occurring. We must create a society where individuals feel comfortable reaching out for help, where financial struggles are not seen as personal failures. The legacy of Matthew Lee Richards should not be one of violence and despair, but rather a complete failure of himself and the church. Let this tragedy serve as a wake-up call, a reminder that behind closed doors, many are silently battling demons that threaten to consume them. Get some help. Don't kill or attempt to kill your family. Thank y'all for visiting my channel. Remember to like and subscribe, and stay curious.